Hello, everybody. It's Walter, your favorite historian, educator, professor, social studies extraordinaire, and blue-collar scholar. Thanks for tuning in today. Today's date is November 10th, 2025. And this video is entitled, How France Could Have Stopped Adolf Hitler. When Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany in 1933, he had many things on his bucket list that were designed to make Germany great again. We've all heard that before, haven't we? Different country, though, of course. In any case, one of the things on that bucket list was to unite all Germanic people in Europe under his rule. The only way he would be able to accomplish such a feat is by way of military conquest, either peacefully or violently. So Hitler decided to see just how far he could go in that direction without being opposed by the other powers in Europe at the time, which were essentially the UK, France, and maybe even possibly the Soviet Union as well. But his primary concerns were from reactions from the UK and France. So Hitler decided to make a bold gamble in March of 1936 by rearming the Rhineland. Now, the Rhineland is a large region in Western Germany that borders Holland, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. As a part of the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, the treaty that ended the First World War, signed by all the major powers of the world at the time except the United States of America for various reasons. Part of that treaty was, one provision rather of that treaty, was that Germany was forbidden from having any military forces or fortifications in the Rhineland whatsoever. Okay? France, being that it was the only continental power that shared a land border with Germany, was essentially vested with the authority to enforce violations of the Treaty of Versailles. When Hitler decided to rearm the Rhineland in 1936, all right, sending troops into that region, his troops had orders that in rearming the Rhineland, if they saw the French at any point sending their forces into that region to push back any attempt at German rearmament, that those German troops were to retreat immediately and not engage the French. When Germany decided to rearm the Rhineland, France did absolutely nothing. This proved to be a catastrophic mistake. Now, before we all jump on France, okay, there were many reasons why the French did not do their duty here and enforce the Treaty of Versailles. First, France was much too divided internally, politically, to even think about opposing Germany on this action, even though the French army stood as one of the largest in the world at the time, almost 2 million enlisted men, and it would have easily been able to thwart any German expansion westward in this format. And number two, the general consensus with both the French and the British at this point was that they were not in the mood to be going back to war at this point. Keep in mind, 1936, the world is still in the midst of the Great Depression. So nobody's gung-ho right now about going to war. Okay, so this singular act right here was not challenged. And as a result, Hitler became emboldened to do more, okay? Because he was not challenged in rearming the Rhineland, a direct violation of the Treaty of Versailles, he would then proceed to do bolder things, like annex his neighbor, Austria without a single bullet being fired in 1938. This was soon followed by the annexation of almost all of the western fringe of Czechoslovakia, a country which bordered Germany to the southeast at the time, all right, followed by the total absorption of Czechoslovakia later on that year. This all, of course, took place between 1936 and 1938. By 1939, Germany was fully rearmed, had designed the most formidable and breathtaking military in Europe. And of course, when they launched World War II by invading Poland on the 1st of September 1939, only then, at that point, okay, did France and the UK finally decide enough was enough and declared war. But by that point, as we all know, too little, too late. All France had to do was send about 100,000 troops into the Rhineland when Germany illegally rearmed it in 1936. Hitler was expecting the French to do this and was fully prepared to retreat and go back in his shell and leave the matter alone. But because the French did nothing, thereby enabling Hitler to do more, we saw World War II. And of course, the annexation of Austria was unopposed. And like I said also, they adopted the appeasement strategy in 1938 with the Munich Agreement and letting Hitler take a large part of Czechoslovakia. So by simply not opposing the rearmament of the Rhineland, we see Hitler's military might grow as well as his ego grow at the same time. Two dangerous things to mesh together, and we see World War II happen, all because of one failure to act. And the French alone could have stopped this. Alone, the French could have stopped World War II. But due to their own internal political struggles and the lack of desire to go to war, they did not. And the world paid a heavy price. This is not France's fault. This is just merely pointing out a fact that just one act by the French could have undoubtedly saved millions and millions of lives and potentially led to the end of a disastrous autocratic regime in Germany much earlier than when it was destroyed. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how France could have stopped Hitler and thus stopped World War II. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on the matter. Please leave them in the comments down below, and I can't wait to have good, positive, peaceful, fruitful discussion with you on this subject. If you haven't already done so, please like this video. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and please share this video with others as well. I'm sure they would appreciate the knowledge, okay? Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and I will talk to you at the next video. Professor Shelton, the Blue Collar Scholar, out.